You are tuning in to Mondays with Coach Rice, where we encourage, where we educate, and where we empower you for the week. I hope you enjoy the show. Okay, we're going to do that. So, good morning, you guys. This is Mondays with Coach Rice. And I just want to introduce my guest. Her name is Cecily Henderson, and she is a certified functional medicine coach.
Yay. Love functional medicine.
So, so Cecily, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So I am a certified health coach practitioner. I specialize in helping women that have breast implant illness. I'm also certified in a SIBO practitioner, mold spore sickness. Um, I also do like the microbiome, hormone health, emotional eating support, and nutrigenomics. So I have these different specialties I use in my practice to help clients, and I have some patient referrals to help people with their wellness. And I guess I started this because I got sick with breast implant illness.
So, tell me, when did you first get your breast implants?
So back in 2006, I ended up with thyroid cancer, had lost a ton of weight, and decided to get breast implants in 2007 after my cancer, and had them for almost 15 years.
Wow. And so, what actually happened in that journey when you did get your breast implants? Like, what happened?
That is the $1 million question. That is why I'm here. So, back in 2007, after I got my implants in, I noticed, little symptoms, just little things like little pain here and there, headaches, dry eyes, itchy skin. And I thought, okay, I'm getting old. I mean, I was in my 30s. I'm like, I'm getting older. This is just the mom thing. And to the point where my eyes started like going inflamed. And I thought, this is really strange. So my husband would always take me to the doctors, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And all the doctors told me, you know what, nothing's wrong. You're fine. You're just fine. All your test results are normal. Just go to a psychiatrist or a mental health professional because you're fine. And I lived that way for about 7 years, just not really knowing what was going on, living with my symptoms, getting more fatigued, and just couldn't really do function very well. And then in 2014, I ended up collapsing and I couldn't walk. So my husband rushed me to the ER. I had no use of my left leg at all. And the doctors were going to release me from the hospital because they couldn't figure out what was wrong. And my husband demanded, you're going to admit her to the hospital until you figure out what was going on with my wife. So thankfully they did. And within 2 days, I stopped being able to swallow and I was having difficulty breathing. So they rushed me to the IMCU, put me on medication, IV medication to save my life because my nervous system was shutting down. And then after that, I ended up paralyzed and ended up paralyzed for 7 years.
Oh, wow, that is horrible. So 7 years in the beginning, you didn't even know.
I had no idea. Yeah, I'm a very faith-based person, woman, and I did a lot of soul searching during those 7 years when I was paralyzed. And because no doctor could tell me what was wrong. They could just tell me that my nervous system wasn't working properly, my nerves weren't working properly, but they had no idea why. And so I guess, crusade to figure out what was wrong, went back to school for functional medicine and trying to figure out what was wrong with my body. And finally, in 2019, I had some divine help because I was just sitting there in my room sobbing because I was so sick and I knew that my body was breaking down. If I didn't get answers, I was not going to be here on this earth any longer because I was so
Mm,
sick. And I finally told God, you know what? If I don't get answers, I'm not going to be here. So, I need these answers now.
right.
And I had this powerful thought or just impression that something was wrong with my implants. And
Wow.
I dismissed it for a little bit. I'm like, wow, where did that come from? I've never even heard of anything wrong with implants. Didn't even come to me at all as something as a possibility. And so I went to my doctor. I said, look, I think something's wrong with my implants. And she said, I've never heard of that. Let's take some tests. I'll support you. So I did a CT scan and I did some other tests and a mammogram. And she called me. She's like, Cecily, nothing's wrong. When she got all the results back, she says, nothing's wrong.
Hmm.
And I was so bewildered. At that point, I was just ready to give up, but I felt like I needed to pursue this answer. So I found a surgeon that had never heard of anything. She'd never experienced anything going wrong. But I told her, I think there's something wrong. And she said, okay, well, we're going to prepare. I'm going to prepare myself just in case there is anything wrong. And so I got into the day of my surgery, had those butterflies, thinking, oh my gosh, is there
Right.
something wrong? Is there something not wrong? Am I going crazy? And it ended up being a 6-hour emergency procedure. I had a severe rupture in one side and an infection. Like the capsule and the implant were black. It was infected. And I woke up and I could hear my husband and the doctor just talking really fast because I just, it was so empowering to think, oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have listened to that intuition, I wouldn't be here today. And about a year later, after I took out my implants, I started walking normally again. And here I am advocating for women. I've met hundreds of thousands of women. There's one group that has like 40,000 women that I get to converse with that have breast implant illness. And so
Oh, wow.
now I'm speaking out for women, helping women, trying to help them heal, trying to get them to have a voice. We're doing a march on the Austin, Texas Capitol next year, March 2025, which is Breast Implant Illness Awareness Month. And we're going to demand a diagnostic code for breast implant illness because currently there isn't one. So women aren't getting the care that they need to heal from breast implant illness.
That is so sad. How, what was your mental state like as you was going through this?
Oh my goodness. So because silicone, what it does is it migrates. It breaks down over time, even in the shell. It doesn't matter if it's silicone or saline, it breaks down and it goes to different parts of your body. It can pass your blood-brain barrier, which is what happened to me. And so the silicone was affecting my brain. I was having psychosis. I was having a nervous breakdown. Sometimes I had hallucinations, and it was all from the silicone going to my brain. And I didn't know what was wrong. I was trying to keep myself together, hold it together. And for that 7 years when I was paralyzed, not understanding what was happening to me. And um, so it was so lonely. I felt, I mean, like the doctors would always tell me, nope, it's all in your head, nothing's wrong with you. And going through that 7 years of feeling like I was crazy was just yeah, it was very lonely, very lonely. I had to do a lot of soul searching.
And so did you, I have so many questions going in my head because this is when you were going through when you mentioned that you had an infection, did
Mm-hmm.
they tell you how long that infection was there?
Mm-hmm. It had been there for 14 years. It was an infection when they put in my breast implants. That's what I had. There's The bacteria I had is called C. acnes, and it is a common bacteria found on the skin, especially under the arm and on your arms. And so it had gotten on the implant as it was inserted inside my body, and it was there slow growing for that long. And now I have an autoimmune illness because of that infection, and it'll be with me for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. And so when you had these different mental health issues from the silicone, did you go see a therapist, a psychiatrist? What was that journey like?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't because I didn't know it was coming from an outside source. I just thought that I was this horrible person, and that I would go in and I'd see different therapists, and I would just tell them, gosh, I don't know what's going on, but I obviously people are telling me that I'm crazy, and that, all these things that I'm feeling are just in my head. And so the therapist would try to help me the best they could, but they didn't even understand what was going on. And I'm sure it was difficult for them because they would try to help me. They would try to give me tools like, cognitive behavioral therapy tools. I tried to do EMDR. I tried to do somatic therapy, and they just didn't work as well because I had something affecting my brain. And that was the hardest part, because I tried all these great therapies and I thought, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Because it's not helping as much. And there's a lot of studies showing that silicone, the way that it affects the brain. They did animal studies where they took a group of women that had breast implants, took their blood, injected it into mice, and then they had the control group, right, that didn't have breast implants, did the same thing to mice. And the control group that didn't have breast implants, the mice were fine. But the ones that had the silicone breast implant blood went crazy. All of the mice, every single one, 100% of them went crazy.
Wow. And I can see why rather that therapy didn't work because it was actually organic,
Yeah.
something organic causing the psychosis. That is so huge. No one knows too much about this because people don't talk about it. I really hear about breast implants going wrong, but I never hear the details of it. So I'm so glad that you are on my show to talk about it because I really want to make sure that my audience get educated, empowered, and encouraged on the show, And so this is really huge. And so during the time that your husband went through this whole thing with you, that is powerful right there. And I don't want to overlook that. Tell me more about that.
Oh, yeah, my sweet husband. He is a military veteran, so he's had his own trauma. And I think he kind of recognized, that I was going through trauma as well, which I think helped us together, because I helped him when he was going through his trauma. I was there for him, and so he wanted to be there for me. And that was that that's really special that, somebody would be willing to do that. But like I said, it went both ways. We were there for each other. He was in a lot of wars and things that he went through, and so I was there for him. I remember hugging him as he was crying and holding him, and then he did the same, for me when I was going through my difficult time. And so I think as a couple, if you work together in those ways and recognize when each other's having a difficult time, gosh, it's a powerful thing in a relationship.
It is because you actually going, that's the definition of unconditional love. I love
Right.
you regardless. Um, there's no conditions. There's no condition that can move beyond our love. And that's what marriage is all about. And I love the fact that you guys overcame something so traumatic and in your life. And so, what made you so this is what brought you into coaching, correct?
Correct. Yep. That's why I went back to school. I figured if my legs weren't working, I might as well utilize my brain. And it took me a long time and I think it actually helped me keep my brain active at school, that I was constantly doing schooling, just because my brain was, everything was being attacked by the silicone and breaking down. So, me going back to school, I think really made a difference in my mental health.
That's awesome. So tell me more about your coaching business.
Oh boy. So I have several different certifications. I went back. I'm a certified health coach practitioner. Went to school to get certified, and then I went back to school for psychology. So I'm a psychology major. Currently, I'm doing applied health, so I can be a health educator, and then eventually going into my PhD for clinical research because I want more research to get out there about breast implant illness. But I see clients that have microbiome issues, infections. What I went through, right, with my infection was terrible. My gut was messed up 100% of the time. I couldn't hardly eat anything. I help them with food allergies and food sensitivities. I help clients with SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And I also do nutrigenomics, which is nutrition based on your genes and your body type. So it's a genetic based type of nutrition, and I think it's fascinating. It's getting out there. Epigenetics and genetics are really starting to take off in the medical field. So I'm excited about that. I also help women that have hormone health issues and also emotional eating support because for years, my mother passed away when I was 18, and then I ended up having bulimia after that because it was the only way that I could deal with my grief. And so that was one thing after I was able to overcome that I went back to school also for emotional eating and helping people that are going and struggling with that as well.
Oh, wow. That is big. So you have a pretty good client base and all around health and gut health and all of these different things, right? And
Yeah.
also encouraging women that's going through um, breast plant illness. Wow, that is. I'm really excited about what you're doing in the field that you're in because it's much needed. No, that's definitely a different field to be in. But it's unfortunate that what you had to you turned your pain into power, and that's really big.
Thank
And
you, Martha.
although you didn't, so how long you been walking since this happened?
So I would say, so I got my implants out in 2020. And it took about a year for me really to start walking normally again. So, mid 2021 is when I started to really walk. And in fact, I went to my neurologist, a lovely woman, and she said, Cecily, you haven't had to have your medication or your treatments or anything in the last several months because I'd have to go in and get an IV treatment every few weeks. And she said, Cecily, I think you are healed. You don't need this anymore. And I believe in breast. You have made me a believer in breast implant illness. She's like, I have no doubt about it now. And that was causing all of your issues. So I made a neurologist believe in breast implant illness after what I went through. She saw what I went through. She saw my test results. I had a severe illness. Something was affecting my nervous system. So for me to just spontaneously heal after a year, taking out my implants, it was pretty powerful.
That is powerful because to hear that news, I'm healed, after being told it's not, they can't see anything or nothing is wrong, and your body is, everything in your body is saying something is wrong.
Right.
It, I've been in that situation before where I I felt like something maybe was wrong with me mentally for thinking something wrong with my body, and my body is responding in a way that's showing me something that I'm ill with something. And once they figured it out, it's such a relief, right?
Yeah.
To
Yes, it
know
is. Oh
that
my goodness.
this is actually happening to me, and please figure it out, or I cannot continue to live, right? That's what was that feeling when you heard I'm healed?
Oh gosh. I so my at that time my body was healing, but my mind still was having a difficult time. So I felt elated because I knew that that was the right answer, that my implants were making me sick, but I was still struggling with my mental health. And it took me about 3 years after taking out my implants to really finally get the silicone clear, because it takes years for silicone to get out of your system. But once it started getting out of my system, and that brain fog, the anxiety attacks, the depression, all the mental health aspects of it started going away, that's when I realized how powerful that this silicone toxicity, how it can just wreak havoc on the body. And that's why, and it's ready. Like I told God, I'm ready. I'm ready to speak up. I'm ready to do whatever I need to do to help women to get this information out, because women are going around with, I see women with breast implant illness have terrible mental health issues, like severe anxiety, severe depression, and they have no idea what is going on, right? So they feel crazy all the time. And I see this in thousands of women that I get to connect with. And right now, I've created a new group called Hope for Healing. And yeah, Hope for Healing Network. And I love it because I'm focusing on the mental health aspect of it for people that have gone through these kind of traumas and breast implant illness. So yeah, thank you for what you're doing, Coach Rice, because I'm telling you,
And
we
I
need
thank you
it.
for what you're doing. We need to remove the stigma out of mental health. I'm so glad to be a part of your network. I'm so glad that you're a part of my network. And I just want people to get healed. Because just the fact that your body is not functioning normal, it's really huge on your mental health. The body just, mind, body, all of that, that's holistic, right? And
Yeah.
that's why I want to continue to interview pastors, mental health professionals, nurse practitioners, doctors, life coaches, health coaches, therapists, counselors, psychiatrists. I want to do that because I want my audience to be educated on what's going on out here, because so many people are going to get implants. and
They
and and
do.
just they really need to know. Now let me ask you this question. When you when you get implants, are they affecting you even if they not disrupted, or just being in your body? Is it, because it is kind of a foreign entity coming into your body, is it affecting you right away?
Gosh, that is a great question. And so I will answer that because, so I just to give you a little background, I've been doing breast implant studies for the last several years. I've been reading research. I've created medical courses on it. And to answer your question, yes, it affects the body immediately because there are manufacturing chemicals that as they process the implant, and if you look on the FDA website, it actually talks about this. There's 71 different types of chemicals that they utilize to use in the breast implant and on and around the breast implant. Surgeons are supposed to test the implants before they put them in your body to make sure that there's no chemicals that are going to be released. But I have never heard of a single surgeon doing that. And so what happens is when it's put into your body, it releases all these chemicals that go out through your body, through your tissues, to your brain, everywhere. So all these chemicals are hanging out in your system. Women are getting so sick, they have an immediate reaction. And that's basically what happens. And then you have the autoimmune response for a foreign body. Like you said, a foreign body reaction. It's called Asia, and it is a response to breast implants.
Mm. Thank you. I just started having coffee
No,
spell.
you're take all your time. Do your water. It's important.
Anyway, Sorry.
No.
Um, so that's thank you for sharing that. That is so important because people really don't know what's really
Mhm.
happening. I'm so glad that you took taking out the time to do the research. So tell us, we coming up on a time. Tell the audience how they can get in touch with you and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, first of all, I have my Facebook group, the Hope for Healing Network. So it's Hope for Healing Network, all four words. And then I have a couple of websites that people can go to. So the first one, if they want information, free information on breast implants, I wrote a medical course. It has audiobook, it has videos on there, and the website is breastimplantresearch.org. So just one, breastimplantresearch.org. All the free information there. You can look at studies. So if you're looking to get breast implants, I would highly recommend going to this course because it talks about all the toxicology, the neurology part of it, the allergy part of breast implants, all the things, the complications and risks. Go to that website, free information. Then I have my practitioner website, which is biihopeforhealing.com.
And I would definitely put that in my YouTube video channel as well. All of the links that so you can reach her. And just want to say thank you so much for coming on today. This has been amazing. I could spend hours talking to you, but I know
Me too.
we definitely have to respect time because it's so much and so much to delve into. And I would probably love to have you on again to talk about like different type of clients that you take on and what um, illnesses that you are able to help them with, things of that nature. So I would love to have you back on if that's okay with you.
I would love that. And
Discuss that.
it all comes along with mental health too.
Yes, yes, it
So
does. Yes, it does. And I love it. I'm so grateful that you are certified in what you're doing. And just thank you so much for coming on the show today. And just thank you, listeners, for tuning in. I hope that this show was very helpful for you. And if you find that it was, please share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Mondays with Coach Rice. I really hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and share with others what you have learned on the show. Thank you so much.